Your garden soil is dying right now beneath your feet. The same thing that killed thousands of acres of farmland in the 1930s is happening again. Compacted, lifeless dirt that grows nothing but weeds and disappointment. You've added compost, you've bought fertilizers. You've done everything the gardening videos tell you to do, and still your plants struggle. But during World War II, when chemical fertilizers vanished and food shortages threatened entire nations, farmers discovered 5 liquids that brought dead soil back to life in weeks. Not months, weeks. These weren't chemicals. They weren't store-bought products. They were liquids most people threw away. And they worked faster than anything you can buy today. Here's what they used and why it matters more now than ever. The truth about soil death is simple. Soil doesn't die from lack of nutrients, it dies from lack of life. The microbes, the fungi, the bacteria, the entire invisible ecosystem that makes soil actually work. That's what dies, and when that dies, nothing you add matters because there's nothing alive to process it. Modern fertilizers don't fix this, they bypass it. They pump synthetic nutrients directly into plants, which makes things grow temporarily, but the soil itself gets worse. More compacted, more lifeless, more dependent on inputs. It's the agricultural equivalent of a sugar rush, fast results followed by a harder crash. During World War II, farmers didn't have that option. Chemical fertilizers were diverted to munitions production, nitrogen for bombs instead of crops. So farmers had to go back to methods that actually rebuilt soil instead of temporarily propping it up. And what they discovered was that certain liquids, things most households produce naturally, could inoculate dead soil with so much microbial life that plants exploded with growth. These 5 liquids became the backbone of wartime food production. And they still work today, better than compost tea, better than store-bought biologicals, better than anything marketed as a soil amendment. Because they're not feeding plants, they're feeding the soil. And once soil is alive again, it feeds everything. Here's what they used and exactly how to make it. Liquid number 1, urine. Human urine is the single most powerful liquid fertilizer you can produce at home. And during World War II, it was collected, diluted, and applied to gardens across Europe and America. Urine is roughly 10% nitrogen, 1% phosphorus, and traces of potassium. But the real value isn't the NPK ratio, it's the bioavailable form. Urine doesn't need to be broken down by soil microbes before plants can use it. It's immediately accessible. That means you see results in days, not weeks. But here's the part most people miss. Urine doesn't just feed plants, it feeds soil biology. The nitrogen in urine activates microbial populations. It kickstarts decomposition. It turns dead organic matter into humus. So when you apply diluted urine to soil, you're not just adding nutrients. You're waking up the entire system. Here's how to use it safely and effectively. Collect fresh urine in a container. Dilute it 10:1 with water, 10 parts water to 1 part urine. Apply it directly to soil around plants, not on leaves. Use it once a week during active growth. That's it. No fermentation needed, no aging required. Fresh urine diluted and applied works immediately. The smell is minimal when diluted properly. And the results are not. Plants respond within 48 hours. Darker leaves, faster growth, stronger stems. And soil that was compacted and lifeless starts producing earthworm castings within weeks. Because urine doesn't just feed plants, it rebuilds the soil food web. Most gardeners never consider this because it feels uncomfortable. But during the war, comfort wasn't the priority, food was, and urine delivered food. Gardens that received regular applications of diluted urine outproduced gardens using commercial fertilizers by significant margins. The reason is simple. Urine doesn't just add one element, it activates everything. And the cost is zero, you produce it daily. You're already making the most valuable liquid fertilizer possible, and you're flushing it away. Liquid number 2, wood ash tea. Wood ash was one of the most valuable substances in wartime gardens. Ashes from wood stoves, fireplaces and bonfires were saved, stored, and turned into liquid fertilizer. Wood ash is rich in potassium and calcium, both of which are critical for fruiting crops and root development. But it also raises soil pH, which makes it especially useful for acidic soils that lock up nutrients. Here's how to make wood ash tea. Fill a bucket halfway with cold wood ash, not charcoal, not treated wood. Just plain wood ash from hardwood if possible. Add water to fill the bucket, stir it well. Let it sit for 24 hours, strain out the ash. What's left is a potassium-rich liquid you can apply directly to soil. Use wood ash tea every 2 weeks during fruiting season. Tomatoes, peppers, squash, beans, anything that produces fruit responds dramatically. The potassium strengthens cell walls, improves disease resistance, and increases sugar content in fruits. But the bigger benefit is what it does to soil structure. Potassium improves soil aggregation. It helps clay particles clump together, which opens up air pockets and improves drainage. In compacted soil, wood ash tea can improve structure faster than compost alone. One warning: don't overuse wood ash on already alkaline soils. Test your pH first. But for most gardens, especially those with heavy clay or acidic conditions, wood ash tea is one of the fastest ways to improve both fertility and structure. The reason wood ash tea works so fast on dead soil is the solubility. When you make the tea, you're extracting water-soluble potassium. That potassium is immediately available. There's no waiting period, no breakdown process. You pour it on soil and within hours, roots are absorbing it. Within days, you see the effects. Stronger stems, better flowering, improved fruit set. And unlike synthetic potassium fertilizers, wood ash tea doesn't create salt buildup. It doesn't burn roots. It delivers what plants need in a form soil recognizes and processes naturally. Liquid number 3, fermented plant juice. During the war, farmers in Asia and Europe independently discovered that fermenting certain plants in water created a liquid so rich in growth hormones and microbes that it could revive soil that hadn't grown anything in years. This wasn't compost tea, it was fermentation. The process breaks down plant material into bioavailable compounds that soil microbes can use immediately. Here's the method. Harvest fresh plant material. Fast-growing weeds work best. Comfrey, nettles, dandelions, clover. Chop the material finely. Pack it into a jar or bucket, filling it about 2/3 full. Add an equal weight of brown sugar or molasses. The sugar feeds fermentation. Cover loosely and let it ferment for 7 to 10 days. Strain out the solids. The liquid left behind is concentrated fermented plant juice. Dilute it 20 to 1 before using. 20 parts water to 1 part fermented juice. Apply it to soil, not leaves. Use it every 2 weeks during the growing season. The results are immediate. Within days, you'll see new growth. Within weeks, soil that was hard and lifeless becomes soft and friable. Because fermentation doesn't just break down nutrients. It multiplies beneficial microbes, lactobacillus, yeast, fungi, all the organisms that create living soil. The science behind this is elegant. When you ferment plant material with sugar, you're creating an anaerobic environment. In that environment, beneficial bacteria multiply exponentially. Those bacteria produce enzymes, organic acids, and growth hormones as byproducts. When you apply the finished liquid to soil, you're not just adding nutrients. You're adding millions of active microorganisms and all the compounds they produced during fermentation. That's why fermented plant juice works on dead soil when compost doesn't. Compost adds organic matter. But if the soil is too dead to break it down, that organic matter just sits there. Fermented plant juice doesn't wait for soil microbes to wake up. It brings the microbes with it, and those microbes immediately start working on whatever organic matter is already in the soil. Liquid number 4, manure tea. Animal manure has been used for centuries, but during World War II, farmers refined the process. They stopped applying raw manure, which burns plants and wastes nutrients. Instead, they made manure tea, a liquid extraction that delivers all the fertility without the bulk or the risk. Here's how to make it properly. Fill a burlap sack or old pillowcase with aged manure. Cow, horse, chicken, rabbit. Any herbivore manure works. Tie it closed. Submerge the sack in a 5-gallon bucket of water. Let it steep for 3 to 5 days, stirring daily. Remove the sack. What's left is manure tea, rich in nitrogen, phosphorus, and beneficial bacteria. Dilute it until it looks like weak tea, light brown, not dark. Apply it directly to soil around plants. Use it every 10 days during heavy growth periods. Manure tea delivers two things most fertilizers don't: slow release fertility and living biology. The nutrients aren't synthetic. They're organic compounds soil microbes recognize and use efficiently. And the bacteria in the tea inoculate soil with beneficial organisms that suppress disease and improve nutrient cycling. The difference between manure tea and raw manure is speed. Raw manure takes months to break down, manure tea works in days. And unlike chemical fertilizers, it doesn't burn roots or create salt buildup. It feeds soil the way soil was designed to be fed. What makes manure tea especially valuable for dead soil is the bacterial load. Healthy manure is full of beneficial bacteria from the animal's digestive system. Those bacteria are adapted to breaking down plant material. When you steep manure in water, you're extracting those bacteria along with the soluble nutrients. Pour manure tea on dead soil, and within 48 hours, microbial activity increases measurably. The soil changes color slightly. It smells different. It feels different. That's biology waking up. Liquid number 5, milk whey. This one surprises people. But during World War II, when dairy was rationed and every byproduct mattered, whey from cheesemaking and yogurt production was poured onto gardens. And it transformed soil. Whey is the liquid left after milk curdles. It's rich in lactose, proteins, and lactic acid bacteria. And those bacteria are exactly what dead soil needs. Here's why whey works. Lactic acid bacteria are some of the most beneficial microbes for soil health. They break down organic matter, they suppress pathogenic fungi, they improve nutrient availability, and they colonize soil quickly. One application of diluted whey can shift the microbial balance of soil in a single week. Here's how to use it. Collect whey from homemade yogurt, cheese, or kefir. If you don't make dairy products, whey powder dissolved in water works too. Dilute the whey 10-to-1 with water. Apply it to soil, not plant leaves. Use it once a month during the growing season. Whey doesn't just add microbes. It feeds the microbes already in soil. The lactose acts as food. The proteins break down into amino acids. The result is a population explosion of beneficial biology. And within weeks, soil structure improves. Compaction decreases. Water infiltration increases. Root growth accelerates. The reason whey works so dramatically is the lactic acid bacteria. These are aggressive colonizers. They move into soil and establish territory quickly. And once established, they become part of the permanent soil ecosystem. Every time you water, they activate. Every time you add organic matter, they break it down. They turn dead soil into a living system that maintains itself. The reality of liquid soil revival. Here's what all 5 liquids have in common. They're not fertilizers in the traditional sense. They're microbial inoculants. They don't just add nutrients. They add life, and life is what makes soil work. Modern agriculture treats soil like dirt, an inert medium to hold plants, while we pump them full of synthetic inputs. But soil isn't inert. It's alive, or it should be. These 5 liquids do something chemical fertilizers never will. They rebuild the system. They don't bypass soil biology, they restore it. And once restored, soil doesn't need constant inputs, it maintains itself. During World War II, farmers who used these liquids didn't just survive food shortages. They produced surpluses. Gardens that had been declining for years suddenly exploded with production. Soil that had been compacted and lifeless became soft, dark, and fertile. You can do the same thing right now, this week. Pick one of these 5 liquids and start. Dilute urine and apply it to one bed. Make wood ash tea and use it on fruiting plants. Ferment weeds into plant juice. Brew manure tea, save whey, and pour it onto soil. Any one of these will show results within days. All 5 used in rotation will transform dead soil into living soil within a single season. The difference isn't subtle, it's visible. These liquids aren't a shortcut, they're the method. Start with one and watch dead soil come back to life.